Global U.S. passport power is changing, and millions of Americans are abroad paying attention. Now, we just did a video talking about how Thailand and Japan have both been impacted by the U.S.-Israel-Iran conflict. Now, I want you to pay close attention because recent geopolitical tensions, shifting visa policies, and evolving diplomatic relationships are beginning to reshape how Americans travel across the world. In this video, we're going to break down what that means for you if you are already an American living abroad, and what neutral territories you should be in, because there's really only a couple places that you should be in the world to be safe. How travelers who are relying on visa-free access may see changes, expats considering relocation, and families planning international moves. Because as more countries review diplomatic ties and decide, am I going to choose Iran? Am I going to choose America? Who am I going to choose? The neutrality of these nations can start to decline, and people may no longer let U.S. passport holders into their country.
Yeah, that's good. Look, that's good. That's something to really think about, because things are heating up with this. They're looking at American passports a little bit different now, as we've been saying. So that kind of makes me think about, should you think about citizenship if you are eligible to get citizenship somewhere else? Because we know Donald Trump was saying you cannot have dual citizenship. So are you prepared? Are you mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, physically prepared to choose a different country's passport and live there? It's really getting down to these questions. These are the serious questions that you need to ask yourself, because these things are starting to it's not going back to what it used to be. It's not going back to normal. It's not trying to be peace. It seems like the peace is away for right now, especially with Iran doing a lot of things, with America doing a lot of things. But these are the questions that you really have to ask yourself. Are you prepared to do this? So this is why we do the things that we do with, one-on-ones with the Mature Adult Intensive, to help people choose the right country. Because I'll say that's the most important. Which countries are neutral? Which countries do I guess allow you to have dual citizenship for this time, and which countries are going to treat Americans right and decent. So make sure you like the video, leave your comments below, and yeah, it's changing. It's a lot of changes happening.
Yes, because it seems like every continent on the face of this earth has a couple of rebel-like countries that are coming out to either say they support Iran or say they support America. Take Kenya, for instance. Kenya's President William Ruto has come out and said, listen, Iran, if you touch one hair on the Kenyan people's head, if you do one more thing and it hits any Kenyan man in the Middle East, Iran's like, we're not even worried about you. We're not even targeting you. So I don't know why you're saying that to us. But France has come out and said the same thing to Iran.
Yeah.
Okay, but France and the U.S. are historically allies, but in recent times the relationship has been kind of rocky. But it may be in a wartime scenario, the good old allies of the old days, the UK, France, and America, are back to being the three musketeers, where they are working together. Because obviously if France tried to go through the Strait of Hormuz right now and grab some energy, grab some oil to help their country, because mind you, they do not have access to Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger anymore, so they are desperate for oil and energy. But if they were to just try and do that today, Iran would shoot them down the way that they tried to, or the way that they did shoot down Thailand and Japanese cargo carriers. And so you have to ask, okay, Thailand and Japan, they may be more likely to support America, but will Cambodia support America? What will Vietnam's stance on this be? From the Vietnam War, and then from now, they've been pretty chill towards Americans in recent years. But in war times, which side are they going to choose? Which side is India going to choose? U.S. passport holders have a lot more to think about than just, hey, how much is my hotel booking? How long do I want to stay in this destination? No. You
Yeah.
had better only be going to places that you are comfortable living in or being stuck in.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So that means you need to be somewhere like a Mauritius, like we live in. We love Mauritius. We are totally fine if we get stuck here. That would benefit us so greatly. A Botswana, a Rwanda, because even the African continent, they're not all equal. There are 54 different countries. The Middle East should be completely out of your travel plans. I've had entrepreneur friends and acquaintances that are in the Middle East. These people are in Europe and America now. Like nobody is sitting up there in the Middle East in the tourism industry because Iran has quite frankly destroyed their economies, destroyed their tourism outlook. And listen, there are even some things going on where people are like, hey, I don't even have time to fly around to the African continent. So it's basically like, unless you are one of those people the way we were in 2020, literally the last family going through the airport to move abroad, unless you are that person, which you may be, shalom, hey there. It's nice to talk to you. But unless you are that person that does not mind being the last person out of America during these times, then you may just be staying in your region. You may not be getting out because in times of war, they are going to scrutinize U.S. passport holders, wonder why you're in their countries, unless the territories you're going to are super neutral and on the side of America.
Yeah, that's good. That's you gotta have a calling, because I guess when I think about 2020, there was a lot of things going on with the C-19 and tests and vaccines and things like that. But for us, we didn't have to do none of that. So there is a calling that the Most High has to give you to really want to do this, and the people that we speak to, most of our clients that we speak to, is really, they always talk about the Most High. They always say, this has been pulling me, I really need to get out of America. But
Yeah.
it's not more so of like escaping America. It's more of a calling of a safe haven that the Most High is trying to lead his people to, like a Goshen. Because do you agree, guys? Are we in World War III? That's a question. Leave a comment below and
If
let me
somebody
know.
says no,
So yeah, like you gotta
don't say no.
No, that's a real question, because I see videos, people say, oh, this is, it's not so bad right now, but it's getting, it's starting to get there. This is the corrupting like a lot of things when it comes to flights, when it comes, you get what I'm saying, traveling, finances, oil prices, resources prices. It's getting down to a point where, okay, it might not look so bad to some people right now, but it's leading that way. It's not going to turn back around and get better. It's not. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is what NPR is reporting. They said just 12 hours ago, the war's effect on travel was sudden and striking. Now, previously we have done videos where it's like, hey, 9,000 flights have been canceled, delayed, 10,000, and we thought that was such a huge number. But this number that I'm about to tell you, put it down in the description if you're listening to this point of the video, because it's more than 46,000 flights that have been impacted. And I want you to truly understand how this works, because the Middle East is one of the most popular corridors of the world to receive connecting flights. There are even places in Africa that you can't fly west to east without going through a Dubai or a Turkey. That you can't fly east to west. Sometimes you can't fly east to north. Sometimes you can't even fly east to east without going through Dubai, which is another thing we cover in one-to-one consultations. Check them out down below, because there's so much logistically that now goes into traveling. It's not simple anymore. So you're going to have diverse routes where you're like, hey, maybe I'm flying through the Caribbean. Maybe I'm stopping in Japan for a moment. Maybe I'm stopping in Australia for a moment. That way, because you can take Australia to Mauritius pretty easily. A lot of Australians come out here. So you're gonna have to be more creative. And if you're like, that sounds exhausting, that sounds overwhelming,
Might not be for you.
that sounds like something I don't want to do, but I still want to travel abroad, I still want help with this move, visit www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com. because we are available, but our availability is super limited. You know, somebody tried to book the mature adult intensive, but they were just too late. And when we tell you doors are closed, that means the doors are truly closed. Our phones have been ringing off the phone line. People are getting in contact for so many different things. And actually, I was looking at the data yesterday, 55% of current clients are actually past clients. They're saying, hey, I want to work with you again, but in an investing capacity, in a business capacity, in a different capacity. And so at any given time, 55% of our capacity is already booked with clients who are already experiencing our system, already done the State of the Diaspora, already done the mature adult intensive. Because 46,000 flights, like, can we just pause? That's a lot.
Yeah.
We were freaking out about 9,000 flights. 46,000 flights that take you as an American or a European to Africa, to Asia, they're gone. Now, there are now flights going out of Qatar and Dubai. All praises to the Most High, because those people can get out and go to a safer space and not be in a war zone. But travel is not fixed, and you probably don't want to fly through the Middle East. Who cares if they still leave the tickets open for you to book? It's not safe to go through the Middle East. You want to find direct flights and diverse routes throughout the Indian Ocean that are going to be safer for you.
Yeah, safety is starting to be more expensive. I'll tell you that. It's going, these flights. Just think about oil, how it hit almost $120 a barrel, but now it's back down to 80 something. And they say the oil price is still going to increase. So 46,000 flights. That's a lot of flights, and just say like a week and a half, because this war started last week. Friday, Saturday.
Almost 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, almost 2 weeks ago. So it's like, that's a lot of flights. You got to realize how many, 46,000 flights. Just think about that number. So that tells you there's a lot of traffic. They're losing a lot of money. You know, if they losing money and then oil prices is going up, they need to make money somehow, and they're just going to raise the price of flights. So wherever you are in the world, the sooner the better. The sooner the better to get to a destination where you do not mind being stuck. You do not mind, having that, because it just reminds me of 2019, 2020, when they said, okay, we need to lock down for this weekend, and then it started to be 4 days, then it started to be 2 weeks. So it's kind of similar to that in a way. So you just have to look. You really gotta have eyes to see, ears to hear. You gotta have this discernment in these last days, because we are coming up to a new year also. So there are new things happening, but if you are not in line, I'm telling you, you're gonna be confused. You're gonna be confused. So just make sure you do not be confused, because there is a way to do things properly, the right way. To make sure that you're going to be good for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, like
10 years,
10 years, 20 years,
10 to 20 years if you're coming to Mauritius, okay? Because Mauritius Thailand's another one that has similar ones like this, but Mauritius and Thailand are like the only residence permits that you can find on earth right now that will offer you residence in 10 and 20 year segments, depending on if you're a self-employed entrepreneur, if you're an investor, or if you're a retiree. Then both of those countries also have digital nomad type visas. Now, global tourism is going to decline. The economic grace period where tourism was on the up and up after COVID, it's going to go back down again, which is going to produce certain countries giving opportunities to you expat, to you American who is in tech, who is an entrepreneur, who has some type of skill that you can invest in the country and bring as a business and pitch that to the government. There are going to be so many opportunities like this coming out, because when you have a crisis like this economically, there is so much opportunity for you if you're a business, if you're an entrepreneur. If you are a business, go to www.tiffygrights.ai. Go ahead and subscribe to my email list. Look at my portfolio, because it just may be that the 31.9 million collectively that I've generated for clients over the past 10 years, that experience can be applied to your firm so that you do not have to struggle in World War III. Okay? Now, there's also another piece of news I want to leave you with, which is quite interesting. South Africa, unlike Kenya, so South Africa and Kenya are basically on different sides of the continuum here in the war. Kenya says we're against Iran, but South Africa gave a warning to America and said, look, if this war doesn't end, South Africa's gonna get in the war. I was like, wow, it's only been 2 weeks, everybody's hot-headed. They are like, listen, America, if this doesn't stop, if this keeps spreading, if you and the Israelis, because understand South Africa deals a lot with the Zionism, the Zionism in South Africa that really has a chokehold on the country. So the South African president's like, this is the greatest time to get free from these Western leashes, this Western dominance, this Israeli dominance, because we don't want these people here anyway that occupy most of the territory, most of the land, while our people feel like they do not have as much, okay? They are standing up for Iran despite the U.S. threats. So South Africa's like, you can threat us all you want. President Donald Trump said he's losing patience for South Africa, whatever that means. What does that even mean? But he says he's losing patience for South Africa. And the President Ramaphosa, he's like, okay, but we are not backing down. So they may decide to send troops to Iran. They may decide to trade with Iran, because for Iran and South Africa, it's not that far the way it is for America. It's like Iran's up here, but they could come on down the coastline all the way through the ocean water the way they did in ancient times to just come around here and go speak to South Africa real quick without any U.S. intervention, because the U.S. is on that side of the globe, okay? But this is from the African Report. And they are saying South Africa's BRICS friends and its mineral export boom are giving Pretoria breathing room to withstand American pressure. So they are protesting down there. I'm looking at a sign that says hands off Iran. South Africa's like, we are going to jump into this as well because you want to cause issues for Iran. So look, we're going to jump into this issue as well and let you know that you cannot attack the Iranian people like that. And I just want to know what you guys think of that down below. If you are someone that's going to South Africa, does this make you look like, okay, maybe I want to be somewhere a little more neutral or different? Because that is worrying on both sides. That South Africa is adamant about not standing down, but also America's adamant about saying they're out of patience with Iran. It's really one of those situations you probably just want to have a plan B exit out of there, which is why so many South Africans will go to a Mauritius, go to a Seychelles, go to a Madagascar. They're fleeing these places because it's getting worse geopolitically. And anytime you're in one of those hotspot zones, even like a China, you don't want to be in a China. These hotspot zones that are going to be fighting and battling each other, you just want to stay away from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, it seems like we keep saying, it seems like they're trying to get everyone involved. You know, everyone's looking at it. You know, everyone is kind of involved already.
Yeah, they have to pick a side.
Because, yeah, you've got to pick a side. So, you know, pick a side. Where it's going, yeah, really.
You know, Brazil chimed in as well. South Africa's obviously like the more world superpower, but Brazil chimed in to say the same thing as South Africa. Brazil's like, look, we're standing up too. We saw what you did with Venezuela. Brazil, another country I just wouldn't be in. I just wouldn't do it just from the safety index alone. Brazil's not one of those safer countries. Brazil has a lot of gangs and criminality and cartels and all of these things. You just don't want to be in places like that in World War III. You want to be somewhere that feels like a paradise island, where the last of humanity gets to just relax and chill and run their businesses, grow some food. You know, maybe their oil prices increase, but that's about the extent of their affliction in the war. So leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Send this to 20 people who need to understand the war, people that have their hands over their eyes. They're like, oh, see no evil. No, I don't want to. No, you need to
Blinded.
pay attention to the war to understand your next moves, your plan B, your exodus, your plan C, your plan D, your plan E, wherever you're at. Because just ask the Americans and the Europeans and the Africans who are in the Middle East. They had to get their plan B the heck out of there in record time. So, shalom, shalom, family. We'll see you in the next one.
Shalom.